Artist of the Year award.
Oh, I feel better now. I was scared off there for a minute. You're all so excellent. I felt intimidated. You know, I would have given anything when I was growing up in Minnesota if we'd had a high school like this. But the one thing I did have in my life when I was growing up was that my mother was an immigrant. She was from Canada. It's not very exotic. But I was raised to... the unquestionable American thing was like to follow your dream and to become whatever your heart desired. And I was raised on, you got to be somebody and get somewhere and make the most of yourself and all those wonderful things. And when I see these parents, you've obviously raised your children this way. And sometimes I feel this is slipping away from our culture. And it's like as freedom breaks out all over the planet, I sometimes feel in this country we get a little skittish with our freedoms and censorship starts looming its head up. And you know, I came here to do a show, and I've been at many big, beautiful theaters, and here I did this one-woman show about the poet Edna St. Vincent Millay, and I didn't have a dressing room, and they said, I could hear the kids saying, go down there, you'll see Mrs. C, she's dressing down the lady in the girls' bathroom. And we didn't have any technical equipment. We had a switch. We turned the lights on and off, and then we turned them on. That was the lights. And in this space, everybody just sort of crowded in there, and when there weren't enough seats, they sat on the floor. And they were the best audience I ever had, the smartest. They laughed the hardest, they thought the deepest. They were wonderful, and when it was all over, they asked the best questions. But during the show, when I was so thrilling and brilliant, I looked down, and here was this boy drawing on his arm, and he had the strangest hair I ever saw. So after it was all over, I said, you there with the funny hair, I said, do you have to tattoo your arm all right through my show here? And he said, no, I wanted to remember the line of that poetry. And he had written on his arm, and then he read to me from this poem of Edna St. Vincent Millay's, and the line was, we sit in each other's souls. It was... It was a very meaningful moment for me that that boy cared that much to write that on his arm with his pen. And you know, people in the performing arts, the material we work with most is the human spirit. And we do sit in each other's souls. And I want to start with the parents. Tremendous work has gone into these fine young people. And I hope the funding for this keeps up. We just need enough to get these poor teachers cars so they can drive out here and teach you all. I thank you for this award.
It's now my pleasure to present and introduce to you another member of the foundation board. You can't say an old friend because that's not appropriate. You have to say a young friend who we both served in the California State Legislature back in the 70s, and she continues to serve her district well today in the 80s and the 90s, and that's the Honorable Terry Hughes.
Thank you very much. It's indeed a pleasure and an honor to be here today. If Mike Antonovich was the father, I guess I was the mother of the school, because I'm the mother that carried the legislation that created this wonderful school. And these are our children. They look like both of us. And those are our hands up there in that painting as we shook and we agreed he would help me to get the Republicans to vote for my Democratic bill, and I guaranteed the Democratic votes, and the governor signed it. So that's what America is all about. That's what government is all about. Democrats and Republicans working together to make a better life for ourselves. I had a dream, Mike had a plan, and together we have reality. This is your farm team for fame. I am so excited about this school, as I always have been. I never thought I'd live long enough that our plans would ever come through fruition, but you made it possible. I know that I have gone out to seek many people to have them interested in joining Mike's foundation with us to try to see that this school prospers and does extremely well in the future. One of the persons who was very, very instrumental in getting a lot of support for the school was Altravice Davis. Altravice Davis was the wife of Sammy Davis, Jr., and I knew that Altravice had attended a school very much like yours in my hometown of New York City. And I said, Altravice, you must come to our famed school. And she said, where is it? And I brought her over here. She was so enthusiastic and so delighted, and she helped a great deal. And I regret that she can't be here this evening, but we do have a special award that I would have presented to her, but she sent a very important person in her life and in Sammy's life to receive this award, which is the State of California Lifetime Achievement Award in the Arts. And if you would please come forward, the person who is going to receive this is Treva Wilson, who has been the personal assistant and special aide to Sammy Davis, Jr. On behalf of the California State Legislature, it's indeed an honor to present this to you in behalf of Sammy Davis, Jr., for his wife, Altravice, for all of his fine talent that presents a heritage for you to remember. Thank you very much. Would you like to say anything? Would you want to say anything?
First of all, I'd like to thank the faculty, the Supervisor Antonovich, and Assemblywoman Hughes. I personally know how much Mr. Davis was looking forward to receiving this award, you know, and how honored he was. And I was sitting there and I was trying to think of something that he might say to these fine, I mean, outstanding students. You know, I was going to come here and I was going to tell you to study hard and don't let anyone take your dream. But as I sat here and I sensed, you know, the talent that we have. I mean, I would think, I was watching an interview today that Mr. Davis was on a television show. It was an interview that was taped some time ago. And one of his dreams was to be able to, you know, in the next couple of years, work with some of the students here to share some of, you know, the things that he'd learned. And I do know that if there was anything that he would say that he was very, very proud of you. You know, and I'm sitting there and I'm sensing that somehow there's a little of Sammy Davis Jr. in all of you, you know, and all of us.